Real Housewives negotiations. So the first season, my contract said $7,250. And then the show did do, I believe, 1 million viewers, but we didn't even know what that meant. We didn't understand ratings. We were clueless. And the network never ever showed us ratings, never shared them with us, no matter how well we did. It was well into my second round on Bravo that they still weren't sharing ratings with us. And I sent emails to the heads of the network and the heads of the production company and said, why can't you just share ratings and tell us how great we're doing? And the reason they didn't want to share the ratings was because they didn't want us to know the show was doing so well, because then we would ask for more money. So I remember Jill would be talking to people and advertising and finding out from them what the show was doing. And later on, there was social media. There wasn't even really social media then in the beginning. Later on, people had these accounts where they post the ratings, and we were just in the dark. We really didn't know anything. We were just sort of guessing and looking for articles, because it just, ratings weren't as much of a common topic in reality television. And certainly for us, we were the dummies that were just getting paid so little to be on this entertaining show that was being written about in New York Magazine and all these different places. So I remember I was in the Hamptons with Jill, and it was the second season we were negotiating, and we were all favored nations. We were all supposed to be paid the exact same thing. That worked for Friends, and that was great that they all stuck together, but very quickly we all really ripped apart, and Jill and I came over into one silo, and she said to me, I'll let you handle the negotiations. And we thought we were big timers, getting $50,000 for the second season. I think it was 50, or maybe I got us up to 75, and then the next season was 125. We weren't getting paid per episode, and many people now on Housewives don't get paid per episode. They just get a blank fee, which means as many episodes as get shot, and that's kind of what was happening. They could have produced 65 episodes and we would have gotten 50 or 75 or 125,000 for those first couple of seasons. Later on, it breaks down even more. It would usually happen that there would be 3 housewives that would band together with the same lawyer, and then one of them would get cold feet because Bravo would start saying, we're about to film and you're not going to be in it. So one would pull away from the 3, then the other 2 were left alone. And then Bravo would start filming a season without them. And then they would both scurry in and take a lot less money than they said that they would. So forever, Bravo would know what their negotiating style was. So in Housewives and in business, stick to your guns in what you're going to take and don't bluff. Once you bluff and they call your bluff, forever, Bravo knows exactly where you stand, and people in business know exactly where you stand with negotiations. So I always stood my ground with negotiations, and if I said I wasn't taking less than X, I wasn't taking less than X. And there were times when I really knew my value, meaning in the beginning, before there was Atlanta and Jersey, which I could see were coming in, and they were coming in hot and successful. Once those came on, I knew I had less value, and I had a spinoff coming, so I would sit back and take less because I had a bigger picture outlook. And that's where people make a mistake, because they just believe their own bullshit and think because they had a couple of dramatic moments on a season that they're worth a lot more than they are. And that's when you see these housewives that end up overplaying their hand. So I never overplayed my hand. And I negotiated for Jill and I the second and third season. Then everybody was ultimately divided. And one season, which Andy will confirm, I never ever tell what I got paid, which ended up being a lot, which I'll explain another day. And one season, one housewife on our show, the only thing that she asked in her contract was that she wanted to be paid $1 more than me. Lol. And that was the person who said they wouldn't come back unless they were getting paid $1 more than I was. And that was the person who ended up folding and crawling back because the show started shooting without them, and they overplayed their hand, and then Bravo knew their negotiating style.